Is this Quaily Plains? Cloud Retainer, why did you bring us here?
Ganyu is of course familiar with the name Guizhong, but have you ever heard of her? Guizhong is another name of Agentis, the god of dust. She was extroverted in nature and adored social gatherings and inventions alike. Long ago, this region was yet a prosperous assembly. Guizhong often invited her friends to visit her home, reserving for us seats around the largest stone table. Seagazer would always bring out his latest treasure and place it upon the table. He could be quite the braggart. Though usually a mild-mannered fellow, when it came to those collectibles he was so fond of, he always loved to show them off.
Paimon remembers that name. So that's what Seagazer was like.
He was an old friend and a former rival. One has many memories of him. Once he had brought out the treasure, it would predictably become the center of attention. Neither Guizhong nor One was content to let him just steal the spotlight. So we would then also present our proudest mechanical creations. As Adepti, we were each gifted in our own ways, and naturally proud of our accomplishments in our respective fields of expertise. As a result, One often quarreled with Seagazer. His treasures were not even of his own making. He just used his exploration skills to dig them out of the ground. How, pray tell, could he compare to me, when every single one of One's accomplishments were crafted by one's own hand?
Cloud Retainer, you are getting competitive again.
One digresses. Regardless, every time an argument occurred, Guizhong would come over to watch us during our mutual lambastics. On some occasions, she would join in, and on others, she'd take one of us by the limb and start uttering the most ridiculous nonsense.
What kind of nonsense?
No kind of nonsense were we spared. Sometimes she would brazenly opine, why argue between yourselves when neither of you could ever hope to beat me? Other times, she would make unsolicited suggestions, such as, once you two are done arguing, let's go to the foot of the mountain and grill some meat. She always sought to make everyone happy, and one must say, she had quite the gift for it. No matter what nonsense she said, One never felt bothered or offended. It also helped that she never referred to One as that illuminated bird or lady bird.
Come on, get over yourself!
Anyway, just as our impassioned arguments would reach the apex of acrimony, Marchosius would bring his delectable dishes to the table. Who would dare snub the stove god and his wondrous creations? At the sight of him, we would all immediately drop the argument and prepare the table for a night of feasting and drinking. Back then, One was always bothered by how the cups Rex Lapis brought were always too square for one's taste. Can you see yourselves ever enjoying a drink from a square cup? Precisely. So, as you can see, even one as great as Rex Lapis was not immune to making the occasional blunder. Even One could never find fault with Marchosius's cooking. As we ate, Guizhong would continue to find topics for conversation, filling the table with humor and laughter. Each of those old fossils had their character flaws and points of obstinacy. So why was it that whenever we dined together, we always had a marvelous time? We would drink together from a spot high in the mountains until the moon set and the sun rose, and only then would the banquet finally come to an end. Streetwood Rambler would often remain to admire the flowers with Guizhong before returning to her own abode. The glaze lilies were far more abundant back then. Entire fields of them would appear to the eye as a veritable sea of flowers.
Streetward Rambler?
That would be Ping. You probably know her as Madam Ping.
Oh, okay. Wait, this is a lovely story and everything, but didn't we come here to find that Adeptus from Mr. Dvorak's story? Or are you saying that it was Guizhong? Didn't she, already,
Alas, long has one avoided this place for precisely that reason. The sights here are a reminder of a time long gone, and evoke much sorrow. One should have guessed that you would disrupt one's poignant moment of mourning with your incessant questioning. No matter, one will share the whole story with you now. In times gone by, one quarreled oft with Guizhong concerning mechanical principles. We each had our ideals, and neither would yield. Under the pretext of a social gathering, one invited the impartial Rex Lapis to judge the quality of our creations. But Rex Lapis declared that Guizhong's Obscuro Vulpus mechanism was superior. Though one was too proud to acknowledge it, in one's heart, one knew that Guizhong was indeed the superior talent in the mechanical arts. As for the story between Guizhong and Streetward Rambler, that begins with a certain bell. In Guizhong's opinion, while mechanisms were no substitute for human composers, they were yet capable of producing simple but fine melodies. But Streetward Rambler believed music to be an expression of the soul, an emotional enterprise that could never hope to be replicated by machinery. They argued endlessly, until one asked Rex Lapis to intercede. He confiscated the bell and designated it for ceremonial use. Thereafter, one would often find them convening in the mountains, discussing music, mechanics, and all the affairs of the mortal world. But these good times were not to last. War broke out between the gods, and soon engulfed the Guili Plains. Guizhong was overpowered by the enemy, and fell in battle. When Streetwood Rambler and I arrived at the scene at long last, all that remained among the ruins was her lifeless body. After this, at Streetwood Rambler's request, Rex Lapis granted her the cleansing bell for safekeeping. To honor our friend's memory, one made a few finishing touches to her ballistic device. Many lantern rites have passed since then. Many greetings and goodbyes. Upon what do you gaze? The Guili Plains?
No. It's everything. We think of human life as like a lantern that's lit one minute and extinguished the next. But are we Adepti so different? Perhaps as dust settles after a storm, we too must one day return to the world below.
What? You have loads of friends, and you seem pretty chatty.
Just because one is not ignorant of social graces does not mean one is fond of them. One is perfectly capable of partaking in conversation despite being introverted. But in the end, one is nothing like Streetward Rambler. She is dauntless but thoughtful, not to mention eloquent and wise. Moreover, her friendship with Guizhong was far greater than one's own. Back when they were rivals, they would often compete against one another in the realm of musical composition. That cleansing bell was one of Guizhong's proudest works, having the ability to both compose and perform.
Wait, that's weird. Didn't Madame Ping say she pestered an old friend for that bell? And she also said something about being a vain beauty when she was young or something.
Streetward Rambler, a vain beauty. My foot. That bell has a sad history. Clearly, she refrained from sharing with you the truth of its origins, since the right time had not yet come. As for her old friend, who else could it be? As soon as Streetward Rambler heard that a certain Zhang Li wished to borrow the bell, she realized that the man was none other than Rex Lapis, and that he had made an enormous decision. After all, we all have known each other for several millennia. Some things between us are implicitly understood.
Whoa! So they were talking in secret code? Oh, Paimon did not see that one coming.
Enough of your intrusions. Where was one up to? Ah, yes. One remembers now. The cleansing bell is powered by a mechanical art, and can be used to great effect as an accompanying instrument. After the passing of its creator, it was used on numerous occasions during rites of parting. But Streetward Rambler did not acquire it from Rex Lapis for the purpose of producing further funerary tunes. No. Each time she rang it, it was to play the tune that Guizhong composed on it. The two once clashed over their beliefs about the meaning of music. Who would have thought that with Guizhong's passing and Streetward Rambler's mourning, two tunes composed in discord would eventually become one harmonious composition? Once upon a time, Streetward Rambler also loved gatherings, liquor, and music. But after Guizhong passed, she preferred her own company. She could often be found sitting alone at a mountain summit, contemplating and reminiscing with her zither. The music would go from mournful to soothing to impassioned. Many years passed before she finally composed a melody to her satisfaction. In celebration, she played the tune to the clouds. Regrettably, one has only ever heard her play that tune once. Which brings one back to the matter you've been investigating. Perhaps it was during that performance that the ancestor of your Fontaine friend fell into the water and was saved by Streetward Rambler.
But if she was so happy with the melody, why would she only play it once?
One was also greatly perplexed by this. After suppressing one's curiosity for a long while, one finally approached her and asked why she would retire the tune after having spent so long on it. In response, she said, "Though the strings that played that melody survive, the one who inspired it is gone. Tell me, Cloud Retainer, when the one attuned to my soul is no longer here, who else could hope to understand this tune?"
Aw, poor Madame Ping.
I just remember being taken care of by you when I was young. Once the Archon War came to an end, I stayed behind in Liyue Harbor to honor my contract. Although I met Guizhong a few times, I never knew anything of this particular story.
Guizhong was quite the visionary. But but tragically passed before her time. Her manuscripts still lie unfinished in the realm of clouds. Blank pages give one cause for contemplation on what might have been. Had you not decided to search for that mystery Adeptus, perhaps these stories, too, would have been lost to the sands of time. As of now, you know the truth. That the Adeptus who rescued the drowning man was none other than Streetwood Rambler. Do you intend to discuss this with her?
Do you mean Ping might find the topic too distressing?
Precisely. The passing of our old friend is a heavy topic that both of us are usually careful to avoid.
If I may be so bold, Cloud Retainer, could it be that this is just your own personal opinion?
Oh? How so?
I've been in Liyue Harbor for quite a long time now, and I've witnessed many farewells along the way, so I too am well acquainted with the pain of the passing of a loved one. But this doesn't bring the city or its people to a standstill. They have to keep moving forward. Someone as perceptive and wise as Ping will surely have come to understand and embrace this. Though these immortal mountains have lost an Adeptus, the harbor of mortals has gained a wise elder. No loss can ever be undone, but there is always much that can still be gained. Ping has helped countless people, and will guide many others in the years to come. And all to whom she extends a helping hand become her friends. People she can admire flowers and discuss music with. Though it is heartbreaking to lose a kindred spirit, life goes on.
We even asked Madame Ping what she thought about adding a music festival to this year's Lantern Rite. Oh, when we get back, why don't we just ask her if she'd like to perform? Maybe we can even get her up on stage.
You youngsters and your imaginations.
Why don't you come with us? It's been a long time since you last spoke with Ping, and Liyue Harbor is always decorated so beautifully during the festival period.
Is not every Lantern Rite the same in this regard? Were there ever anything new to discuss, one in Ping could meet any day of the year.
I disagree. Each new day and each new year is different from those that have come before.
The edibles she brought this time were indeed quite delectable. Very well. Then one will be off. If the other old fossils have sneaked away into the city to amuse themselves, one shall soon find out.
All right. We should be getting back to the harbor as well. We don't want to keep her waiting. Once the Guili Assembly, now the Guili Plains. Say, if we planted flowers there and cared for them carefully enough, do you think that one day we'd be able to recreate the Sea of Glaze Lilies?
Allow one to take back one's praise from a moment prior. You are still far too given to flights of fancy, child.
What? Cloud Retainer? You were still listening?
One observed that you were making no effort to leave, and returned to chasten and hasten you. This time, one is departing in earnest.
I'm still...
Come on, Ganyu. We're almost there. You don't want to turn back now, do you?
I suppose you have a point. It would be quite impolite of me to leave the two of you now.
That's right. Where do you want to go first, then?
I've spent too much time in the mountains. The first thing that comes to my mind is the sea. Let's go for a walk in the port.
Happy to come with.
Yeah. Time to go.
The sound of the waves in this familiar port. The smell of the sea breeze makes me nostalgic.
Ganyu, you didn't leave Liyue for that long. Why do you look so moved?
Well, I used to be so busy. I haven't taken a stroll around here in a long time.
Huh, that's true. Ganyu seemed to be working all the time.
Well, when I think about my time here, I've spent most of it behind a desk filing documents. It put me in a certain mood, similar to the one I felt during my training in Juyun Karst, in fact.
Is that? It is! It's Lady Ganyu. I wouldn't have thought I'd meet you here. You were always so terribly busy.
Lady Ganyu? Why are you calling her that?
Please don't also start calling me that. Allow me to introduce Uncle Tien. He is...
That's all right. Just tell them the truth. They have done so much for Liyue after all, and I am the one who has yet to introduce myself.
Uncle Tien is a member of the Liyue Qixing, the Tianshu.
What? This grandpa is a member of the Qixing? The same rank as Ningguang?
Hush now. I must ask for your discretion concerning my identity. Fishing in the port and strolling about are the greatest pleasures of my life. I have no wish to be followed around by those armed guards. In most people's eyes, I'm just a forgetful and wordy old man.
Uncle Tien is too modest. He's been around for a long time. There's no one who can replace a person of such noble character.
What an honor to receive such high praise from Lady Ganyu herself. I guess I must have done something right over the last, however many decades.
Uncle Tien, please. A person of your standing should really stop calling me Lady Ganyu.
My apologies. It's not intentional, just a habit from my younger days. Thank you for looking after me when I first ascended to my position in the Qixing.
Oh, so you've been friends for many decades now, huh?
Oh, I was just fulfilling my duties as the Qixing secretary. It's nothing worthy of your gratitude.
Talking about secretaries, I don't know if I should bring it up. Ganyu, I believe you know my daughter, Huixin. She seems to be a bit troubled recently.
Yes, she works at Yua High Pavilion and she's my junior. How can I help her?
I don't know myself, really. She's all grown up now and doesn't like to ask for my help. May I trouble you to meet her at UAI Pavilion? She just needs a bit of guidance.
With pleasure. Solving the Qixing's problems has always been in my job description.
She's back in character, just like that, huh? Let's move then to Yuhai Pavilion.
Wherever in this world I roam, I carry memories of my home. This blade. It is the last link I have to the land of my birth.
Miss Ganyu, it's been too long. I don't know why, but seeing you brings me a sense of peace in these chaotic times.
Indeed, it has been a while, Huixin. I'm flattered, but aren't you exaggerating a little? I heard that you've encountered some problems and came to see if I could be of some help.
My father asked you to come, didn't he? Abusing his status as a member of the Qixing to trouble you.
Don't worry. I'm always happy to help a junior colleague from Yuehai Pavilion.
Ganyu's not only a competent secretary, but also a great mentor.
So, what can you tell me about the problem?
Ugh, where should I start? I discovered something strange while organizing tax records. There are obvious irregularities in the tax declarations of two stores, Second Life and Wanyo Boutique. However, whether I question the shopkeepers or check their accounts, I can't seem to make any progress with my investigation. Without any evidence, my hands are tied.
I see. It's not uncommon for merchants to be blinded by greed.
Well, is there any solution you can advise?
Naturally. I've dealt with similar issues hundreds of times. Give me a moment to consider the best approach in this scenario. All right. Let's approach it this way, then. Your enemy knows you best.
Huh?
If I remember correctly, Second Life and Wanyo Boutique are old business rivals, competing for market share due to their similar wares. In that case...
In that case... Ah! I know what you mean, Miss Ganyu.
Exactly. Let's start with Wanyo Boutique. The owner's name is... Bolai, isn't it?
Yes, you're right. Follow me, please.
Aha! We meet again, traveler.
That won't be necessary, Mr. Bolai. Why should we need to place such an order?
What? Ugh. That rascal Dongsheng.
Well, Second Life's...
Oh, tax records?
Huh. Is there anything you'd like to...
Don't let that rascal fool you. If you don't believe me, show me his tax record.
You know Second Life's business?
Of course. I'd rather lose money myself than see that rascal make some.
Well then, please...
Oh, of course. Line by... Ah, here! That exquisite wooden... Look at the tax.
Nice.
I told you so. Just as I expected.
But he might have destroyed all the evidence, but I believe the supplier, Fanmu...
Aha!
I hope so. Let's go to Fanmu Carpenters. It should be near Chinksa Village. Thank you for shining a light on this...
Oh, please.
It's all right, Wei-Shin.
Oh, that's...
Can't beat the atmosphere here in Nayland.
Time to go.
Well, I'm...
Chinksa...
Hey, I heard...
Master Lu,
Why would the Qixing care?
Dongsheng bought some fur...
Oh, it's about...
Sure enough. Could we perhaps...
Of course, but...
Uh...
As for old Doc... But some trouble. Since you need that in...
So that's what...
I'll leave you to...
Take back the warehouse.
Wait, I think I saw...
Oh, Paimon sees them too. It's one of the...
They must be plotting...
Maybe they're the scoundrels who invaded Ma...
Ever since Osai, we won't call... Besides, my intuition...
Then what are we waiting...
I'm going in! Let's light it up!
Wind strike.
Huh? No, my sword!
It's time for a flash freeze!
Let's light it up!
Over to set!
Teamwork is dreamwork!
I think you've had enough.
Plan?
We just taught you. If you don't, we'll be forced to use harsher methods.
I'm telling the truth.
If you're telling the truth...
Fine.
About to...
Pick berries over...
I must admit, I didn't...
It's not an excuse. I rarely have a free morning, and I heard that there were fresh berries in this area. Think about it. I'm here alone, and Chinksa Village is nothing more than a retirement.
Judging by how...
So you have n...
Fanmu Carpet, I swear.
So it wasn't the Fatui who took over Master Lu's ware...
I misjudged our...
Exchange? This woman, she's clearly aware that the minute...
Yes, precisely.
Paimon's in...
Darn you. How can...
What's your choice then?
I'll get back to my berries.
bittersweet.
I made a laughing.
No worries.
Follow the wind.
So this is the warehouse. Seems like those troublemakers were nothing more than a few little churros. Let's show them what we got.
The wind knows me.
Shine down! Let's light it up!
Wind strike.
Everybody stand! There is no escape!
One with nature.
Let's light! I'm going in! Out of the way! Illusion shot!
All clear. Quick, let's look around for the invoice. This one is an invoice from One Min Restaurant. Some dining tables and chairs. That's not it. This one is Wangsheng Funeral Parlors. Oh, so they make coffins too! This one is Second Lives! We finally found it! Let's bring this invoice back to Hoishin.
Taking a stroll in the middle of a downpour certainly rouses the spirit. But it's best to dry your clothes as soon as possible after the rain stops. Cheer! Time to go.
Ah, Ms. Ganyu, you're back.
I promised to help. Look, it's the. Agreed.
Time to go. Time to go.
isn't it? I told you that all of my transactions are included in the records. My tax declarations are... I do hope...
Groundless accusations, but I sincerely advise...
No. No. I'm an honest merchant. I would never get involved with...
Haven't I made myself clear?
What?
He's talking without time for that
Mr. Dongsheng, can you tell...
I'm...
Do you admit to...
Indeed. Oh? I don't think you'll need my guidance.
Yes, thank you. I'm your enemy. No, to think you came up.
Hitting your opponent. That's how Uncle I figured that as Uncle so I decided to use...
I'm really...
Ganyu solved both.
No. And let me...
Alright, come on, Ganyu. Oh, come...
If it's just a meal.
Actually, I've already...
Alright.
Time to go.
Miss Ganyu, thank you for accepting my...
Sure.
That's so kind. Oh?
Oh, no, I don't...
With pleasure.
Even though I've only decided...
I didn't know that you think so highly of me.
However, I can't compare myself to some...
I disagree.
Over the years,
Huh?
At first, but after all...
So...
You'll help her. It'd be such a beautiful... If it's not too much to ask for...
Huishin, Witness. It's true that I've witnessed that, but I've all... Huishin, you've made me real... They rely on me.
No, of course.
Hooray! Ganyu's finally cheered up.
Even if I've Regardless, I'm afraid that it might have all become a mess during my absence. No time to waste. Let's get back to work.
Good luck, Miss Ganyu.
Taking a stroll in the middle of a downpour certainly rouses the spirit. But it's best to dry your clothes as soon as possible after the rain stops.
Baisha, are you okay? Look! Look!
You even.
Not at all! We wouldn't have survived long.
Askanyu,
We've been
to us, you're like...
Forget all our
All right. Please divide the matter. I'll take care.
Of course.
Oh, finally.
Yes. I'd like to earnestly thank. I'd like to repay you.
Sure, but...